Humans discovered the planet Uranus in 1781. Think about that for a moment. A planet nearly 3 billion kilometers away from Earth was discovered before an entire continent on our own planet. That continent was Antarctica. And that raises an interesting question. How do you discover a planet before discovering a continent? Today, Antarctica feels impossible to miss. It's larger than Europe. It's covered by millions of kilometers of ice. And yet, until the early 19th century, nobody had actually seen it. For centuries, people believed there had to be a massive continent somewhere in the far south, not because they had seen it, not because they had explored it, but because they believed Earth needed a large landmass in the southern hemisphere to balance the continents in the north. They even gave this imaginary continent a name. Terra Australis Incognita means the unknown southern land. What's fascinating is that Antarctica appeared on maps long before anyone knew whether it was real. Imagine that. An entire continent existed as an idea before it existed as a confirmed place. Then, in 1820, everything changed. Multiple expeditions reported sightings of Antarctica. Even today, historians still debate who saw it first, but after centuries of speculation, one thing was finally certain. The world's last great continent was no longer a myth. But here's the surprising part. The story of Antarctica didn't begin when humans discovered it. It began hundreds of millions of years earlier. Long before ships, long before civilizations, long before humans. Because Antarctica wasn't always frozen. In fact, if you could travel back far enough in time, you probably wouldn't recognize it at all. Instead of endless white ice, you would see dense forests, powerful rivers, rich vegetation, and a giant landmass known as Gondwana. And Antarctica sat right at the center. It's difficult to imagine today. When we think of Antarctica, we think of icebergs and blizzards, not forests. But scientists have discovered evidence that Antarctica once supported rich plant life and a much warmer climate. The frozen continent we know today is only the latest chapter in a much longer story. Over millions of years, Earth's continents slowly drifted apart. Antarctica moved closer and closer to the South Pole. Temperatures began to fall. Ice started to spread. And eventually, Antarctica transformed into one of the most extreme places on Earth. Just how extreme? The coldest temperature ever recorded anywhere on our planet was measured in Antarctica, minus 89.2 degrees Celsius, nearly 90 degrees colder than water's freezing point. At temperatures like that, exposed skin can freeze within minutes, machines can fail, and simply breathing the air can become dangerous. But the cold isn't the strangest thing about Antarctica, because Antarctica experiences something most humans will never witness. For part of the year, the sun never sets. Daylight continues for weeks, then months. And during another part of the year, the opposite happens. The sun never rises. Imagine living in a place where day lasts for months, and so does night. That is life at the bottom of the world. In fact, Antarctica is the only continent on Earth without a native population. No president, no capital city, no permanent government. And unlike the rest of the world, Antarctica doesn't really have its own time zones. By every measure, it seems isolated from humanity. Which makes the next question even more interesting. If Antarctica is so remote, why do thousands of scientists travel there every year? What exactly are they looking for? The answer is surprisingly simple. They're looking for time. Deep beneath Antarctica's surface lies one of the greatest archives on Earth. Every year, snow falls onto the continent, layer after layer, year after year, century after century, millennium after millennium. And trapped inside those layers are tiny bubbles of air. At first glance, they seem insignificant, but those bubbles contain something extraordinary: ancient atmospheres. Scientists drill deep into the ice, extracting giant cylinders known as ice cores. And the deeper they drill, the further back in time they travel. Some of the air trapped inside these cores is older than civilization, older than the pyramids, older than agriculture, older than written history itself. Imagine holding a sample of air that existed thousands of years before the first city was ever built. That's exactly what scientists are doing. By studying these ancient air samples, researchers can reconstruct past climates and understand how Earth's environment changed over time. In other words, Antarctica doesn't just preserve history, it allows us to read it. But Antarctica doesn't just help us understand the past. It also helps shape the present. Most people think of Antarctica as a distant frozen continent, something completely separate from everyday life. But that's not really true. In fact, even if you've never seen snow in your life, Antarctica still affects you. Scientists sometimes describe Antarctica as Earth's freezer. At first, that sounds like an exaggeration, but the more you learn about Antarctica, the more accurate that description becomes. The continent is covered by an enormous sheet of bright white ice, a surface so reflective it sends vast amounts of sunlight back into space. Scientists call this the albedo effect. More ice means more reflection, less ice means more heat absorbed. And that changes everything, because Antarctica doesn't just respond to climate, it helps shape it. The oceans surrounding Antarctica are doing something remarkable. Extremely cold, dense water sinks deep into the ocean. As it sinks, it helps drive a network of currents that move heat, oxygen, and nutrients around the globe. Think of it as a planetary conveyor belt, or even better, part of Earth's circulatory system. Just as blood carries resources through the human body, these currents help distribute energy throughout the planet. And when scientists worry about changes in Antarctica, they're not just worrying about Antarctica, they're worrying about weather patterns, rainfall, fisheries, sea levels, and systems that affect billions of people. But Antarctica still has another secret, one hidden beneath nearly 2 miles of ice. For decades, people assumed Antarctica was simply ice resting on rock. They were wrong. Modern technology revealed something astonishing. Beneath the ice lies an entirely different world. Hidden mountain ranges, ancient valleys, buried lakes, and prehistoric river systems. Some of these landscapes haven't seen sunlight for millions of years. Imagine discovering an entire world hidden beneath a continent, a world sealed away long before human beings existed. And every discovery raises another question. What else might be down there? Scientists believe significant natural resources may exist beneath the ice: coal, gold, natural gas, potential oil reserves, valuable minerals. The exact amounts remain uncertain, and perhaps that's what makes Antarctica so fascinating. In a world where nearly every major landmass has been explored, Antarctica remains one of the last great unknowns. Which brings us to another question. If Antarctica is so important, who owns it? The answer is surprisingly unusual. Nobody. At least, not in the traditional sense. Several countries have made territorial claims. Argentina is one of them. And one of the strangest stories in Antarctic history involves a baby. In 1978, Argentina sent a pregnant woman to Antarctica. Months later, she gave birth to a boy named Emilio Marcos Palma. He became the first known person born on the continent. Many observers believed the event was intended to strengthen Argentina's connection to the region. It sounds unusual, but it highlights something important. Countries understand that Antarctica matters. Then, something remarkable happened. In 1959, 12 nations signed a treaty in Washington, D.C. Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The agreement has since expanded to 58 acceding parties. Nations made a decision that was almost unheard of in human history. They chose cooperation over competition. They signed the Antarctic Treaty. Military activity was heavily restricted, scientific research was encouraged, and Antarctica became a place dedicated primarily to peace and discovery. Think about how rare that is. Human history is filled with wars over land and resources. Yet Antarctica became one of the few places where collaboration came first. Today, roughly 70% of Earth's fresh water is locked inside Antarctica's ice. Not in rivers, not in lakes, not even underground. In Antarctica. And that's one reason scientists watch it so carefully, because Antarctica is changing. Human activity has increased greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. As global temperatures rise, parts of Antarctica are experiencing significant ice loss. Scientists closely monitor glaciers such as Thwaites Glacier, sometimes called the Doomsday Glacier. Not because it will destroy the world tomorrow, but because understanding its behavior helps scientists understand future sea level rise. And this is where Antarctica becomes personal. The future of Antarctica isn't just a concern for scientists working in remote research stations. It's connected to coastal cities, infrastructure, agriculture, economies, and ultimately, the lives of millions of people. The story of Antarctica is no longer just the story of a frozen continent. It's the story of a planet, trying to understand itself. Most people will never visit Antarctica. Most will never stand on its ice or witness its endless white horizon. Yet, our lives remain connected to it in ways they may never realize. Because Antarctica is not important because people live there. It is important because it helps sustain the world where people do. And perhaps that's Antarctica's greatest lesson. Some of the most important places on Earth are not the busiest. They're the places quietly working in the background, supporting life on a planetary scale. A continent once dismissed as a frozen wasteland may turn out to be one of the most important places on our planet. And the future of Antarctica may tell us more about the future of our planet than any place on Earth. If you enjoy this content, subscribe to Within. And if you think someone else would enjoy it too, share it with them. Thanks for watching.